Hello, everyone. I'm Miss Marlatt here, and I'm going to read chapter 14 of Hooper Finds a Family. Follow along. Chapter 14, Day 1. Sometime after it's dark, I wake up when Larry angrily pulls a blanket out from under me, grabs his pillow, and stomps off into the night. I'm afraid for a moment or two, but once he's gone, I've got quite a lot of new space to myself. I go back to sleep snuggled next to Jane. She's nice and warm. When Jane stirs in the morning, I wriggle my way toward her and she smiles. This looks like a chance for a belly rub, so I flip over and she gets right to work. It seems like this is the beginning of a better day. It isn't. Things start to go wrong when we get downstairs and find Larry sleeping on the sofa. He eyes me angrily and mumbles, "That dog kept me up all night. He snores." "So do you," Jane said. "Well, it's my house." Jane sighs and goes into the kitchen to make breakfast. The silence is shattered when Brian bolts down the stairs and bellows, "Hooper!" "Quiet, Brian," Larry says hoarsely. "I barely got any sleep last night because of that dog." Jane and Brian look down at their feet. I look down at my paws. "Don't get too chummy with him," Larry goes on, "because we may not keep him." "What?" Brian shrieks. "May not keep him? I can't believe it. I mean, I didn't really want to come here. I wanted to go back to Mama and George's or stay with Chrissy, but I am here now, and I'm starting to find some good things about it. Brian's lovely, smelly room, the big, soft bed, all the fabulous smells outside. If Larry decides they're not going to keep me, what will I do? Go to another shelter or just live on the streets?" Larry lumbers back up the stairs to bed, and Brian plops on the floor beside me and pulls my ears in his mouth. "Bri, don't do that. It's disgusting. What do you want for breakfast?" "I'm not eating until Dad changes his mind." Jane sighs and puts out another bowl of hard, dry kibble, which I don't touch. Nobody eats anything. Jane clears the dishes out of the dishwasher, and Brian and I lie on the floor. He twirls his bathrobe tie and stares at the ceiling. "Mom, why is Dad doing this?" "Well, you know how Dad hates new situations." "It's not a new situation. We've had a dog before." "I know, but let's give him a chance to get used to Hooper. Be patient. Dad will come around." "What if he doesn't?" "Yeah, Jane, what if he doesn't?" Jane doesn't answer. Brian lowers his voice so only I can hear him. "Listen, Hooper," he whispers in my ear. "We have to change Dad's mind." "You're dreaming. There's no way he's ever going to like me." "You have to be more of a jock." "What's a jock?" Brian is thinking very hard and he twirls his bathrobe tie faster. "'Cause didn't you have to swim in that storm?" "I wouldn't call it swimming exactly, more like hopelessly paddling." "And you can run fast, right?" "Nope." "I mean, you must be very brave." "Me? Brave? Ha! Well, on second thought, I didn't drown, and I got away from that bobcat, and I didn't jump on rafts and roofs. Maybe just a little brave." "And you got yourself rescued, so you must be pretty smart." "I think about this too. Actually, I did convince Chrissy to rescue me. There were so many dogs at the shelter, but she picked me." "So, Hooper, you can do things other dogs can't. You're pretty cool." Brian stares at me, nodding. "Really? Me? You mean it?" Brian's nodding like he understands what I'm thinking. You're one great dog, all right, he says with determination. Our new project is to get Dad to notice. Come on up to my room. Once we get up there, Brian turns on the TV. He calls to Larry, who's walking by in the hall. Come and watch the game! Larry looks in, sees me flopping into a pile of Brian's clothes, rolls his eyes a little, but comes in. They watch for a while. I used to watch the ball games with George, but this feels like home to me. A new home? Could it really be? Unless Larry decides I can't stay. Then some loud commercials come on. Larry takes his eyes away from the TV, looks at me and says, Let's see if this dog of yours can catch a tennis ball. This dog of yours, I notice, not this dog of ours. Brian grabs one of Hammer's balls out of the basket. Hey, Larry says, that's... He stops talking. Brian stops moving. He just sits really still with the tennis ball in his hand. Nothing, Larry mutters after a long moment. Just throw the thing. Brian doesn't throw it. He just reaches over and gives it to me. I take it in my mouth. It's fuzzy. I plop down beside Brian and chew on it for a while. Want to play catch, Hooper? Brian asks meekly. Catch? Brian wrestles the ball from my mouth. Okay, catch! And he throws the ball in the air right over my head. The ball bounces down right in front of my nose. I look at it. What are they expecting me to do? I have no idea, so I roll over on my back. Larry looks at me. You don't want to play catch, do you? He picks up the ball and tosses it again, right at my mouth. Yikes! I duck and slide under the bed. I can't believe this dog is afraid of a tennis ball, Larry snorts. My heart sinks. Hey guys, what's going on? Jane asks as she walks in with a tray of very delicious smelling treats. I come out from under the bed to investigate. Thud's afraid of a tennis ball. Give him a chance to adjust, Jane protests. What's the score? 2-all. What ya got on that tray, Jane? When Dan gets here, we're going to teach Hooper to catch, Brian says firmly. Fine. What's on that tray? Good luck, Larry says, not bothering to look away from the television. Base hit. Brian isn't fazed. Pop, you eat your words in a week or so. A week? Try never. They watched the Yankee game, and I watched them eat thick turkey sandwiches and chips. Brian tears off a piece of turkey for me. Don't tell, he whispers in my ear. I don't know. I know how to keep a secret. Hey, I saw that, Larry says. He gets dog food, not our food. Understand? But each time Brian takes a bite, he looks around and sneaks a little bite for me. Larry is too busy watching the game to notice. I have work to do, Larry announces once the game is over. Bet you $20 you never teach that sad excuse for a dog to catch, he adds on his way out. You're on, Dad, Brian calls after him. But we need a little time. He scratches my ears and says in a nice big voice, which I hope Larry hears, Don't worry, dude. You show, my grouchy old man. Brian turns on some kind of movie. It's still on when Dan comes in wearing sunglasses, Yankee cap, and Yankee shirt. Brian grabs a cap and puts it on too. Hooper, this is my lucky hat. When I wear it to games, the Yankees win. So I'm going to wear it to our ball practices. Then we'll definitely win that bet. Dan and Brian set up a pile of fuzzy balls. Dan is pitching and Brian is coaching. Okay, listen up, Hooper. You have to keep your eyes on the ball. I look up in confusion, and he seems to get that I have no idea what he means. Look at that ball, he explains. Don't stop watching it, no matter what. Oh, okay. Looking at a ball is something I can do. Dan takes a tennis ball from the pile. Now watch, he commands. So I watch as Dan gently tosses the ball. I watch it bounce right in front of me. No, Hooper, you're not supposed to watch it drop. You're supposed to catch it. Now let's try again. What? You told me to watch it. This time, Dan tosses the ball up in the air, and I watch it hit me in the nose. Ouch! He's kind of a klutz, Dan says, watching me. He just needs practice, Brian insists. Ready? No. Here we go. Dan tosses the ball in the air, and before it can hit me in the nose again, I roll over on my back. You don't want to learn, do you? Brian sighs. No kidding. How about just chewing on the tennis ball for now? He offers it to me. Now you're talking. I love the fuzzy coating on the springy rubber underneath. It feels good to bite down on it. This is fun. Why didn't you just hand it to me in the first place? I think we're going too fast for him, Dan says gently. I've got $20 on him. He has to learn to catch. What if he can't? He can. He just doesn't want to. Brian, you have to ease up. He's not into sports. My dad will never like him. Brian sounds really sad. He didn't like me in the beginning either, Dan points out. Now he doesn't mind me. Yeah, that's true. Brian looks at me. I'm sorry, he says. I wiggle over to him and keep chewing away on the tennis ball. If learning to catch it will make Larry like me, I guess I can try. But for right now, the chewing feels too good to stop. The end.